Hi guys, and thank you for joining us at Care Business Associate Training. We said we'd do this webcast across to you to sort of like give you a focus on recruitment, how to sort of like do it in 2019, make sure you're getting your target audience and ensure that you are using technology to the way that it needs to be. We've changed so dramatically in the last few years, and there's many reports and statistics to show you that old methods aren't generally working. So throughout the course of this next half hour, what I'd like to do is go through from a starting point to an end point in terms of how we actually should be looking at recruitment and the focus behind it. So during this period of time, if you have any questions, just comment below and I will do my best to answer them. If I don't get round to answering them all this evening for you, I will drop you a message after, maybe tomorrow, and we'll see if we can give you some helpful hints and guidance in terms of how to improve your recruitment drive. So I want to basically go through what I class as a 7-stage plan when it comes to recruitment. And what I mean by that is to look at the actual strategy planning of what you're using. And strategy planning is very important. And I'm going to send you on a little video in a moment for you to actually have a look at that in terms of how we should get together as an organization, a team or management to work out what the strategy for recruitment is. We're also going to look at what social media or what different types of media that we can use that's going to help us. Very much about what's the message that we're sending out to people. How are we actually going to try and attract them? Why would somebody want to come and work for us? And throughout the video, when you watch it very shortly, you will notice that I make a strong point in that we are now in the element of sales. Operations comes when we're interviewing people, but sales is about attracting people to you, and that's what recruitment is. It's very different in terms of from a retention mechanism. I know both words go together very well, but to me, in recruitment, it's about marketing, and that's very much what we're focusing this element on to try and help you. So then we're going to look at the apps that I use and help other companies to use and what I recommend to you to use. There's nothing in it for me. I'm just giving away some free advice. So I wish the apps would pay me royalty, but they don't. But you might find they're easy. And if I can use them, then certainly you can use them. So they're very, very simple apps to use. I want to look particularly at the optimum run of the recruitment drive. I see continual recruitment drive, so I want to focus it down on a scheduled pathway, if you like, from beginning to end of that recruitment drive, so that it doesn't look like we are constantly trying to get staff, because that's very off-putting as well. I want to talk you through the boost mentality. Now, if we're looking at Mark Zuckerberg, he is making a lot of money now through Facebook and Instagram from the boost, and I want to explain to you how that works, both to your benefit and hopefully to stop you if you do go into that method, which I believe you have to, you don't overspend or spend money advertising in the wrong area. Very important in all business, in all social media platforms, in all sales deals, is actually the call to action. How do people get in contact with you? So I want to go through that, and that's going to be part 6. Don't worry when I say part 6, they're very quick parts. I don't want you getting too bored. And then I want to just close it off with the process of interviewing, the importance of telephone screening so that you're not actually wasting your time. Now, a lot of things that I say, you're probably HR directors, managers responsible for recruitment. You've probably got all these tactics already in the bag. So it might be that there's little parts that I can give you that you will pick up and be able to do something with it, or maybe just tweak and you'll start to see results. I've been doing recruitment in health and social care and other businesses that I have for a long time, and it's always about being ahead and not actually doing the same as what everybody else does. I've always said and strongly believe you don't go to a fishing pond with the same rod as everybody else. You have to go with a bigger rod and juicier bait. And I stand by that. How are you actually going to get that fish to be attracted to you as opposed to the others? So that's a key message throughout all this. Now, to get us started, I'm going to play you a video clip, and it's basically taking you right back to basics. So I'm going to hand over to myself on the video. There might be a little bit of jumping around. This isn't professionally edited, it's live, so I've got to shift things from screen to screen. But watch the video. It's roughly about 9 minutes long, but it's going to focus on the strategy planning. What I see is the 8 key points to strategy planning that will help us move on in terms of the rest of the key areas that I've just discussed. So I'll catch you shortly and I'll let you have this video to watch. Enjoy, and if you have any questions off the back of it, please feel free to ask or comment below. Thank you, Paul, for that very nice introduction. What I wanted to do in this part of the video or webinar was to actually talk about the thing that sometimes we miss, which is the most important, and that is strategy planning. Now, when we look at recruitment, and I'm talking generically across the board, we tend to sometimes take, and excuse my language, a bit of a half-arsed approach to it. In other words, we have a go, and if it doesn't work, then we blame the fact that there is no carers out there, that nobody wants a job, that nobody will work for this sort of money. Which, in some cases is the case when we're talking about an entire population, but carers who want to care will work in care. And our job is to come up with a strategy in how to entice those carers to actually come and work for us. So I've sort of like set out 8 questions that I always ask whenever we're looking at a recruitment drive for somewhere, and they seem to be the most successful things to be able to put the drive together, which we'll be explaining more about in detail when you go back to Paul on the other side on the actual webinar, where we'll be able to answer a lot of your questions. But for the moment, what I want to do is just concentrate on what we mean by strategy planning. Now, the first question that we must ask ourselves is, who are we looking for? That's a key thing. Now, if your answer is anyone and everybody, or anyone that will come and work for us, it's not good enough. We need to really target that down, because we need that information when we decide which social media or which recruitment job advertisement board we're going to put it on, and how we're going to word our content that's going to make them come in. So you really need to work that one out. Who am I actually looking for? And to help you with that, you may actually be looking at, am I looking for somebody that's very bubbly? Am I looking for somebody that's very academic? Am I looking for someone with lots of experience? Am I looking for someone that's got no experience that we can actually train up? Am I looking for somebody that is very empathetic to the care industry? Am I looking for somebody that wants to come in a senior post? So they kind of need to be someone that is very good at auditing themselves, because if you're no good at auditing yourself, you're going to be no good at auditing others. So that strategy plan starting point of who am I looking for, what am I looking for, is quite key in terms of determining what we're going to do with that information in the future. So it's no good just saying, well, all of those, because if you want all of those, we've got to target lots of different markets. And believe me, the way that you're probably doing recruitment now, you're probably targeting none of those, because you're not pinpointing it to that sort of person. And as I said, we'll go over that in a lot more detail throughout the course of this webinar. We've then got to work out, well, how many do we need? Because there has to be that point where we end it and we say, right, we've got enough to interview, so let's actually start that process. So how many do we need? And people need to be clear with that. If I really want a call of action to be to a person that they were going to rush to it because they want to get their information in there, then that how many do I need needs to be actually there within the recruitment advertisement. If I'm looking for one person, then people are going to get their CVs into me much quicker than what they are going to do if I say we are looking for carers. So it's that key moment of how many are we actually looking for. Is it 1? Is it 2? Etc. like that. Then we need to look at what are the hours that we're going to offer, and is there any flexibility within those hours? Is it weekend work? Is it night work? Is it day work? What are the actual hours? Because there's no point us getting 100 people to drive towards you and finding out at that point that none of them can start at 7 AM because they've got the kids to drop off at school. So we need to stop people coming to us that actually are just going to waste her time, fill up her gateway, and stop us concentrating on where we want to go. So what are the actual hours you operate? But remember this, if you have a catchment pool of 500,000 people, and the only thing that you can offer is a 12-hour shift, say 7 a.m. to 7 p.m, of that catchment pool, you've just narrowed it right down. So you might now be left with about 50 people. And of those 50 people, anybody in your area is actually competing to get that person. So sometimes you've got to look at your hours. If your recruitment drive is not working, then we've really got to look at the point of, is it not working because it's the hours that we offer? And in reality, if it's the hours that we offer, then we need to do something about that. There has to be a change in pattern of what we're doing. Otherwise, we're never going to catch anybody. Okay, distance is a key important thing. So what is an acceptable distance? Now you may think people will travel 20 miles into work, or 10 miles into work, or 1 mile into work, but what is an acceptable distance to you? And I want you to be thinking along the lines of that in terms of, okay, what's the chance? They might say they want to do the job, but they're going to leave very quickly because they realise that that 4 mile travel to work is a nightmare to get home, and it's a nightmare to get home at the time they finish, or it's a nightmare to get in because they're coming in rush hour. So have a look at your distance, and I'll come back to that point of how we can put things in place that actually allow us to go further out of the catchment area of where you're generally looking, or target that area by putting simple solutions in. So I'll come back to that, or Paul will come back to that on the webinar when you go live with him. Okay, when do we want them to start? Key thing, because that's going to drive the process that we put in place in terms of how fast we're going to get them to that interview point. So if we are saying we need immediate starts, what does immediate mean? Because if it's an immediate start, you're actually looking for someone that is not got a job, or has not got a job at that moment in time. So on that point, is it better to put starting in 2 weeks' time, starting in 1 week's time, starting in 4 weeks' time? So it's key bits like that you need to ask yourself. Who's going to capture the information? So I'm going to show you, or we're going to show you lots of different ways in which you can put posts out. So you're going to have information filtering through from different sections. So you need a responsible person that's going to capture that information and respond very, very quickly. The easiest thing I can say to you here is at this point, you're in sales, okay? Not operations, you're in sales. The operation begins when we start the interviewing process. But up to that point, it is all about selling your business, that job, you as a person, you as an organization. It's about selling you. So everything that we're going to do has to be sales orientated. When it gets to operations, that's process. How quickly can we get this thing moving? And you know, I had a conversation very recently with a manager who gave me a list of their 6 biggest problems, to which you looked at it and you went, well, actually your biggest problem is recruitment. Now they had put that 6 on their list. Actually, it needed to be top of the list. That's where the concentration needed to be, because at that point, if they got that one sorted, they would find that the other 5 started to rectify themselves. So it's finding that pattern and link. So give this your time, invest your time into it. And lastly on that point is, how long should the recruitment drive last? I see organisations out there who are looking at doing a recruitment drive that goes on forever. It's continual. Actually, that makes it look like you're sort of desperate for jobs. So we need to put a timeline. In any sales, there is always closure. What's the closure to a recruitment drive? Even if it's not been that successful, we stop, we take a breather, we review, evaluate, and we go again. Now, all of that needs to come as part of your strategy planning. So the first thing we looked at there was, who are we looking for? How many do we need? What sort of characters? Is it bubbly? Is it academic? Is it experienced? Is it good at auditing? Are they brand new? And I'm going to throw something in here that those of you out there won't like me saying. In fact, the government won't like me saying, or the Equality Act. The age as well. I know you're not allowed to discriminate, and you certainly should not. So let me put that out there. However, we can determine which age range we're going for by which social media platform we decide to choose. And I'll go through that very shortly. The distance, what's the radius to your business that you think that you can attract? We need to know the answer to that. What or when do we want them to start? Yeah, key point. And who's going to capture that information?
And who's going to respond to people so that they get responses quickly? Who are you actually making accountable for that within your organisation? If you're a single care home, it has to be somebody within that. If you're a national organisation, it has to be something within there. But that doesn't or should not be a 9 to 5 job. If somebody needs responding to at 8 p.m, it's normally because they've worked a 12-hour shift themselves and they need information. And how long is a recruitment drive going to last? Is it going to be over a week, 5 days, a month? Because that's going to determine how many posts we put out there. And when we go back to the live webinar, you'll see how we actually start to take the information I've just explained to you and start to process it into the content that's going to make the sale, that's going to hook the person to want to speak to you. At that point, we're now into operations. So back to the webinar. Paul, enjoy yourself. Everybody enjoy yourself. Any questions on this, ask him.
And I hope it was able to give you a bit of insight into the information that we need and the importance of that information. And as it was explained, without that information, we can't really start to begin to build the content or work out where we're going to target in terms of the market. So it's very important. Now, feel free, the 8 questions were up on the screen there at the end, so go back, write them down, speak with your team, work that out. Recruitment has to take priority within your business. Now, one of the things that I've been doing this year, obviously in my other role of being able to go around and speak to thousands of care staff while delivering training, is to actually find out some things about them and how they felt about the job. And that's helped me in terms of determining recruitment drive. And you can do this with your own team. You know, if you employ 30 people or 300 people or 3,000 people, at the end of the day, those people are still working for you. They've been retained. So what makes them love the job? What things do they not like about the job? Because again, that information is going to help us to plan out what it is we want to tell our audience who we're trying to attract. Now, here's the thing. The thing that care staff loved most about their job, and it was number one every single time, was that they actually loved caring, which shows that they're very empathetic. They want to do the job. They want to care for people. It's a natural feeling for them. And for that to rank as number one tells you that any content we put out there, we're going to have to tell the world that we care if we want to attract them. The second one was that they loved working with others. They felt part of a team. They knitted together. They enjoyed the working with like-minded people, working with people that actually cared. They enjoyed working with people that they felt that they were friends with. And in the care industry, many teams are actually friends. They become friends. In fact, at times can become husband and wife. So it does happen. And then the third one was, and in fairness, even though it was third, it was very close. Those top 3 were quite high. Was that they loved leaving work knowing that they had made a difference, knowing that they had put a smile onto someone's face or changed the day in the life for that person. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because when we actually go to put an advert in the, on social media, in a magazine or wherever it may be, we tend to put the same sort of advert in that everybody else puts in. And you're missing the point. You're looking for sales. It's marketing. What's going to attract them in? What's the USP or P? Sorry, P. When I looked at things that carers actually didn't like about their job, and I'm sorry to say it, but working in spin for many years, you actually work out how to actually take something negative and turn it into positive. How can I use that to my advantage? One of the things what they didn't like was long hours, and the care industry predominantly has long hours. So as an industry, we actually have to look at that. How is that detracting people from wanting to come and work for us? And that created less time with the family. So to me, the biggest catching point for a carer is to be very family friendly, family orientated, bring the family to work days, bring the family to parties, do whatever you've got to do to make the family involved. they did not like, and sorry to say this if we've got some recruitment agencies watching this, but most staff didn't actually like working with agencies. It was nothing to do with individuals that were working for agencies. It's just a mindset thing that those people are getting paid more than they are, that they don't know their residents the way that they do. So it was something that came through quite harsh. Now, I'm not here to say that don't use agency. Of course you should. You don't want to be short-staffed, which is actually what was the next thing they hated, and that was being short-staffed. So somebody phoning in ill with 10 minutes before the start of the shift, we know it's a big pain in the backside. We've all experienced it. But the thing is, those staff then having to pick up the load and the work, and it was something that they didn't enjoy. And that fell very closely with the next point that they didn't really like about the job, which was that there was nothing being done to people that did that, people that did phone in ill on a regular basis, or patterns of every Saturday or every fourth Saturday or 10 minutes before the shift. And they felt that those people were never dealt with in the way that they should be dealt with. So I'm only stating what they told me, and as I said, it was a plan of mine for the last year to go out and speak to as many people as possible. And this is not single to one organisation. I go into hundreds of different organisations, so I just use every opportunity I can to find out information that's going to help in the future for things like this. Okay, on that point, how do we flip those? And I'm going to go over that in a moment, because I want to show you a strategy I used within one home to help them with recruitment when they said it was going to be a major problem. In fact, some of you will be watching this because you actually seen the post that I showed. There is 3 other elements, though, I want to talk about people in general. There's been a large survey done to state why people will stay in jobs, what they're looking for when they're looking for a job. And we know it as PAR, we recognize it as PAR. I speak about it a lot. And what it stands for is progression. And what we mean by progression is, what's this journey of a job? If I start here, can I go to there? Can I go to there? Can I go to there? It's a pathway, and it needs to be clear as day as to how I can get to there. Now, some people have argued with me that not everybody wants to progress, and I'll argue back. They may not want to become the manager, they may not want to become the deputy manager, but they'll certainly still want to progress about themselves. They'll still want to see the business progress. They'll still want to see the team and how they work effectively and efficiently progress. They'll still want to see the inspection grade progress. So progression is a part of everything. And if you are not progressing, you're standing still. And if you're standing still, you get bored. And if you get bored, you become dormant. If you get dormant, you stop caring. If you stop caring, you leave the industry. Sorry for the little rant there, but it's absolutely true. We've got to look at it. Autonomy was a big one. So that's what we talk about when we talk about PAR, P-A-R, autonomy. Autonomy, what we mean by that is accountability. Are we giving them accountability? Now, a good friend of mine and colleague, Dr. Mandy Bennett, talks about this quite a lot extensively. In fact, I'll do one of these where I'll get her on to talk about it, because it's a fantastic talk. She talks about an adult to adult culture, and sometimes we have an adult to child culture. And what she's talking about is leaders in the way that they communicate to others can sometimes be parent child. And really what it should be is adult. If a member of staff's talking to you, they should be talking to you as an adult, and you're not their parent. And if you are talking to a member of staff, you should be talking to them as an adult. So how do you differentiate your adult to adult conversations to parent child conversations? It's very much different. So if you bring in a philosophy of parent child, then you're not actually allowing somebody the autonomy to prove to you that they know what they're doing, that they have the skill set. So give them that little bit of accountability. I know it's hard to delegate sometimes, but it's what staff are saying. And recognition. Recognition schemes are enormous, and I'm sorry to burst bubbles here, but if you've got staff member of the month, I want you to take a look at that and work out, when's the last time you gave the same member of staff member of the month 3 times in a row? When is the last time you actually done that? Do you ever do that? If not, why not? If I'm a member of staff that got staff member of the month this month, and I don't get it next month, and yet I put in more effort to win it, but you give it to someone else, then that is not a recognition scheme. That is basically a scheme to allow everybody a bite of the cherry. And that's not how recognition works. I don't have salespeople in my organization who turn around and say, give my bonus or my commission to that person next month because I got it last month. And even though they've done no sales, it's unfair. No, recognition is bonus. That's what it is. And there's many different recognition schemes that you can do. So if the one you've got, if you're not finding it is actually driving every person upwards, then it's not working. But recognition is key. And by the way, I know you hear it saying thank you is not enough, but thank you is a great starting point. Saying thank you to people is the best recognition you can get. Yes, there has to be a value at some point, but a simple thank you for the job they do goes a long way as that starting point, as I said. So the reason why I've explained all that to you is because we've got to figure out how we put that into content that's going to attract our staff or our future staff. Because if we know that is that's what's going to attract them to comment on that post or send the CV in or send an email to you or make a phone call, then that's our starting point. You know what we're about to give them is a billboard. So what does a billboard look like? What's it got? Why are you going to go and watch that movie? Why should I choose you over someone else? And that's where I want you to start thinking about. So one of the first things I would ask you to do when you're actually doing recruitment is to try and figure out what are the 10 USPs within your organization. What are the 10 things that would make you want to actually work there? Now, you're going to have to go and look at everything because the simplest thing might be the thing that attracts. But if you find 10 things and you can put that into an advert, into a post, you only need someone to look at one of those things and say, that's for me. And therefore, you're starting to target different audiences just by that. And I'm going to show you what I did in terms of when I spoke to the guys I've been working with at SVL with regard to that, looking at what those 10 USB, I keep saying B, don't I? USP is. It's been a long day, guys. So I'm going to do another drag bit. I'm going to take myself off webcam and I'm going to hook my phone up because I want to show you something in terms of what we meant by those 10 points. Then we'll move on a little bit and I'll explain to you how we took everything that we've spoken about so far and made it become live within the recruitment drive. Okay, so I'm taking you off webcam. This is my my iPad, by the way. Can I just say, in recruitment, the one thing you're going to need is an iPad. So if you've not got one, you should go out and purchase one because it's the easiest thing in the world to deal with when it comes to recruitment. And for the cost of it, it's next to nothing. So I know when I'm actually using my iPad now, so it's a bit slower on the screen, but hopefully it will start to move. There we go. What I wanted to do was I'm just going to go into a very friendly environment, which is Facebook, so it will come up shortly. And I just want to show you something now. So if I go to this post here, I'm going to look for a certain post just to show you what the end result was of this. So it's flicking through. And this is their Facebook page. I'll get back to in a moment why it's important to have this. In fact, it's very important to have this. In fact, I'm just wondering if this is the easiest one to show you. In fact, I'm going to alter it. I'm going to go to somewhere else. Bear me 1 minute. I don't know who that person is there, but they're very happy. I think that's actually one of our trainers, which is very good. Let me bring up something else. It'll be much quicker to show you. Okay, that's obviously not me there. I wish it was, but it's not. Okay. So this will do is, this will show us. This was a recruitment drive that was done, and I want to show you how it actually started. So let's bring it up. So 10 reasons why you should work for SVLK. So this was the very first post that was put up on there, and you can see just from here If you look at the bottom, it's been liked, well, 327 times. Now that's quite spectacular. I wonder if your posts are performing that good. Maybe it's worth looking at. If they are, you've nailed it. But 10 reasons why I should work at SVL Care. 1, a company that really cares. Now think back to what I just said about carers want to care. It's the top reason why they want to do the job. So you are basically putting it right out there and saying, we're a company that really cares. 2, career progression. And you're giving them a fact. A management team all started as carers with us. So when we talked about PAR, progression, autonomy, and recognition, immediately we've hit the progression tool. So anybody that actually had an inkling, I'd love to become a manager one day, is now interested. They're swimming towards the bait. Reward recognition scheme. So it's not actually saying what the reward is at this moment in time, but it's telling you that you will be recognized for the work that you do. 4, weekly pay. Now, you may be paying monthly, and I'm not here to tell you to go pay weekly because that could cause your accounts team a lot of problems. But it is a big USP for this company. And why do those staff enjoy getting paid weekly? Well, they're not earning as much money as they like, obviously. So paying bills can sometimes be very difficult for someone who is getting monthly pay. Perk box, saving you hundreds of pounds per year. So I don't know whether you have perk box or things like that, but it's certainly a good recognition scheme and worth looking at. So head over to Perk Box's website and tell them Paul Blaine sent you and see if we can both get a deal out of it. But it's a good recognition scheme. We don't charge you to eat. Now you may think, what on earth is that about? Now there is some companies out there, and you may be one of them, where you will charge a fee for someone if they want lunch. What this company is saying is we don't do that. So if you might entice somebody that works at an organization at this moment in time who is paying for their lunch, and this might just be the thing that brings them to the bait. Travel allowance if you live outside an 8-mile radius. Now that's a very small amount of travel allowance that's paid, but it's allowing them to go out of that catchment area, which I explained earlier in the video. I'll come back to that shortly. We pay for your DBS. Now you may be thinking to yourself, we pay for your DBS. Well, that's going to cost us a fortune if we change the strategy in there. Well, if that is the case, have a look at how much you're spending on staff recruitment. Have a look at how much you're spending on agency fees and then do a tally up. 9, uniform and all training provided. Now I do see that on many job applications or adverts, sorry. So put it out there. 10, 0 agency use in the 20 years of existence. Now remember what I said that staff didn't like. So you've taken all that information they've given and you've turned it around to entice them towards you. And then you've got your call to action. This is where you need to be. The cause, the text messaging. Younger people text. So give them the options. You can either call us. If you don't want to call us, text us. Here's a number to text us. If you want to email us because you're more traditional. And the reason why I put the postcode down in the bottom is because it gives people an instant look at where they're going to be. Then you've got the opportunity to hashtag this. So elderly care, care worker, the area, Hesketh Bank, Tarleton, Banks Village, Rufford. They're all villages around that area. Care jobs, recruitment. There's so many different hashtags that you can use. But this one went out on Instagram. Now, in terms of that, going out on Instagram, that means that you're trying to target a market there from roughly around about the 16-year-old up to about the 24-year-old. That's where you're going with Instagram. So it's got to be cool. Also, while I've got there, look at the picture. Picture is a resident of the care home, and she's smiling. So somebody's made a difference to her day. Why have they made a difference? Well, she's holding a skunk, and that's what's made her day different. Which is, I'm not saying that there should be skunks running around, but it's made a difference. And then the background color is done in pink. So it's a neutral color. I know it used to be known as the female's choice, but it's very much a neutral color now. It's a safe color. It's a vibrant color. It's an exciting color, and it's just given warmth. So you can see just because of the likes on that one advert, the attraction that it started to pull. And that was the first advert that went out. Now, in regard to that, what they then done was start to look at, okay, we're going to run this drive for 5 days. So we need a post going out each day, and each post needs to be designed around these 10 areas to try and entice people. And that's where we sort of like got to the next one. So people smiling. Yeah, simple, easy post. You may think it doesn't look that good, but given that they're all residents of this establishment, it's showing you there is very much moments in time where they're happy and they're smiling. And that's about gathering content over the time. You know, snap any picture you can. It'll come into use at some point. Then we went down the progression route. So about the care worker, the senior, the deputy. So just another reason to come on board. So there's all these call to actions all the time. And then it went to a point where you talked about training and uniform, and the fact that you've got a learning management system or a training app, the fact that you're investing in staff all the time. And then again, the call to action, we have positions available. So it's a key moment to try and drive people to you. If people don't want to work for a bigger home and want to work for a small home, this is a huge USP to these guys. So it's talking about being recognized through being winners and awards that they've won. So again, using pictures to do this. And then the values of the company, very strong point. In this modern age, a lot of staff members, particularly the younger ones, the millennials, they are looking to see if your values align with their values. And quite clearly you can see there that the value is smile. S-M-I-L-E. So if they see people smiling, they can see it aligns to those values. And then the very last post that went up was the final one to actually say thank you to everybody that showed interest. Well done to those that have been offered an interview, and it's not too late. There's still one position left, so come in. Now that final post there, when that went out, that attracted 30 more applicants that day vying for that one position. So that is what we talk about when we're talking about a strategy to actually make things work. It's not a case of none of this was guesswork. All these posts were built the week before they went out and then programmed into Instagram, redesigned for Facebook and redesigned for LinkedIn to ensure that they hit those target markets. And for that small care home in Hesketh Bank, which is only a 30-bedded home. And Hesketh Bank is a very rural village for those that are saying that we can't get people to come to work for that small care home. They roughly had about 120 to 130 applicants for the positions available. So it just shows you with the right strategy, you can actually hit the right market at the right time. And that's what I'm going to be going through very shortly. I know I'm eating into a lot of your time now. I think we've been on this for about 40 minutes, but I promise you it's worth staying and looking on, because what I next want to show you is apps that you can actually use to do this. So it'll flick back in a second. Now, these are the apps that I recommend, and I'll bring them up here. You've got this one here. It's going to come up in a second. It's called Bazaart, B-A-Z-A-A-R-T. Now, this one costs a little bit of money. I think it's about £5 a month, maybe a bit more, but it's well worth looking because it allows you to create your own social media posts, and there's lots of templates in there, or you can design it yourself. And just to show you how quick that is to do, I started a little project earlier just to show you, so I'm going to click onto this. So the background picture was added, and then I added this little picture. I can actually scroll along the bottom here, and you'll see it start to come together, because if I edit and click this picture, there's a little button on here, and I'm giving away all my secrets now, in case you think I'm really good at this, that's called Magic, and you'll see what happens in a second. Now, we are in a webinar, so it might actually work a little bit slower than normal, but there you can see it's actually cut the pictures out of the people and taken away the background. So I want smiley staff that are having a bit of fun, so let's stick them there. Okay, there's another area on here which I really love. It's called scissors, because I do want to put a bit of, oh, I've done something wrong there, 1 minute. I want to go back onto this bit of picture. So I just tap the screen there on the major picture, and I want to press scissors. And what I'm going to show you now is I'm actually going to run my hand around here like this and all the way around. Just, you know, there's no art and design in this. I failed at school at art and design. So I'm going to apply that. And you can see what happens is it brings this back up. Now, if I tap the bit that's all pixelated up here and I go to add, I can actually put a background color in here, and let's say it's pink. So there you go. Now, doing that, I can now put text, and it can be, do you want to work in an area? Just come back a minute. Provides joy and laughter. Do you want to work in an area, in a job? Let's put job, yeah? In a job. Now, if I go done, that's going to bring it onto the screen. And all I'm doing is running my fingers up here to enlarge it. And I could pop that anywhere I want. Now, I could pop the logo of the company up into the top there, but that is now ready, or it's getting ready for social media, and that could be the first part of my strategy. It's striking out because it's pink, it's different, it's not just a picture of a member of staff. You've got pictures of staff there that are happy. I'm sure you've got lots of pictures within your establishments, but you could actually put anything you want in here. Within about 5 or 10 minutes, you've made a beautiful post, but you've worked out your strategy and your content that you're going to do. The great thing about this app is I can resize it. So I can say, okay, I'm going to resize this to an Instagram square, which you can see Instagram square is quite smaller. But now I can go onto it and start to look at, okay, well, I'm going to bring them down a bit. I'm going to bring that down a bit. I'm going to maybe bring the major picture down a bit. I don't know. I might do that. I might twist it like that. I can do whatever I want to it just by touching, and that's why I love the iPad, because there's no fancy tools here. I'm using my fingers and just resizing, but you can see straight away we can move anything we want across the page. I can pop them to there. I can pop them up here if I want, and you can see how easy it is. So I'm basically giving away all my tips here, so hopefully you're looking at it and you're going, yes. But remember, by doing this, you are able then to put these posts out, save it onto Instagram, onto Facebook, and they look different. They feel different. They're making someone look at it, stop and look. What are they getting attracted to? And it's a key bit. I know I'm talking about social media quite a lot here, but I want to just explain that the world has actually changed, whether you like it or not. Younger people are spending up to 3 to 4 hours a day looking at their phone on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Twitter. They're not watching the TV. They're not reading the local newspaper. They're not looking at the notice board in the spa. They're actually on here. So on that basis, where are you going to advertise for jobs? It has to be on here. But to do that, you're going to have to build up a following. And you have to do this, you know, for some people, they might already have a following. If you do it right, you will get people very quickly. If not, you're going to have to spend 3 months actually putting content on and content on and content on social media to build up the following in your local area, which is very important. And once you've got that following, now we can actually go out to the masses. It's a completely different course to actually get your followers up and work with that local community. And it's something that I work with others quite a lot in. So if you want to drop me a line to discuss that, I'm more than happy to do so, to actually discuss it with you and give you some pointers, and you know, we'll see where it takes us from there. But I just wanted to show you this app. There's also another app that I use quite regularly. It's a video app, and the video app itself, I think it's just loading up here, but you'll have seen some videos that I've done recently, whether it be CBAT for them or whether it be for SBL, but it's just a very simple editing app for videos. It's called Magisto, and just to sort of like give you a snapshot of what it looks like and what it is, I think I've got it here. I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to hear this very well, but I'll drag it across and play it anyway, and you can have a look. But this would be Magisto. You might have seen this. It took me roughly about 15 minutes to make this. It has the background tunes to it, and you can edit it easy. So what you're doing here is you're using maybe content where you've videoed, it could be members of staff talking, and then you're basically flying it through pictures with your details on it. And it just is another snapshot way. But just remember, on Instagram, you get a minute. On Facebook, you get as long as you want. On LinkedIn, I think it's 2 minutes you're getting. So you can resize your videos by using another app, which is just called Resizer, and it makes sure that whatever video you use, you can convert it so it plays on Instagram. Otherwise, it's too big and it won't condense. So Resizer is a good app for that. So the free apps that I've mentioned to you very quickly are Bezart for all your pictures, Magisto for your videos and using them, and Resizer to make sure that you can realign everything to the proper social media page. So I hope that is very helpful to you. I'm just going to close this down and go back to my, I think I've just turned off my iPad. One moment. Yes, so I've got Bradley next to me who's probably thinking, I don't believe you just done that. So we'll just see if we can get it to reconnect back up. Apologies for that. I don't know where I put it. So anyway, whilst Bradley's trying to reconfigure that, if he can, not to worry, because I can go on to normal Facebook on the screen and show you. So in fact, we'll do that because we need to fly through this time now. So I'm just going to load up. I'll do it the other way. Sorry. Bear with me 1 minute. You're now watching me type on a screen. No one, please look at my Facebook password when it comes up. Hopefully it won't show it. Oh no, it's logged it straight in. That's fine. What I want to do is, now that we've built that content, I want to show you what we're going to do with it and the importance of what we're going to do with it. So I'm just going to take you over to CBAT's site here for a moment, because this is sort of like the next big thing. So if we look very closely now at what we are trying to do. So let's say, for instance, it was, let's find a post. So let's say, for instance, it was this post and I decided I wanted people to see it. Now, Facebook is owned by Instagram, so it has the exact same algorithms. And basically what it does with Facebook is you might have 1,000 friends or 10,000 followers. Facebook will only show that to a number of people that are following you, the people that are most likely to engage with you. So you can see here that this post went out and it's got 206 people that it's reached, yet the followers to this page is 3-4 times the size of that. And that's because Facebook wants you to boost, and it's the same with Instagram and YouTube if you have a YouTube channel. So what we mean by boost, if I go into boost, and this is very important because this is actually the dynamite for you. It's how to get people to interact. How are you going to get them to see your post? So if I now actually click the boost post here, and I'm just looking down here, so you can see here I can target the audience. Now I'm just going to show you for a second what I mean by that. So you can choose to target people on the Facebook page that you want, or people who like your page so that everybody gets to see it, or people who like your page and their friends. So if they're local people, that's great. Or you can create a new audience. Now, in creating a new audience, there's many different things you can do. So let's say that this is target recruitment 1, or whatever you want to call it. Do we want all men and women? We can put the age range in there. We can pick a location, so we can add locations. So it's automatically going to bring up near the location I am. But let's say, for instance, I decided I was going to actually target Manchester. So I now go Manchester, and now I've got a circle of that means anybody on Facebook or Instagram that I'm about to post this out to is going to get this if they're part of my target audience. And the target audience is actually looking at keywords, so interests and behaviors. So let's just say I put caring at first. So that can be agency that I'm targeting there. Yeah. I could decide that actually I want someone that is a nurse. So we'll let that one. Is it a student nurse? Is it a charge nurse? I could have gone down different routes, but what you're actually doing is you're starting to build up your coding for who is going to get this on their wall. And you can see, you know, basically what we're going to do is we're going to chap on the door of all the carers in your area. So let's put carer in there. Now, is that a caregiver? Yes, that'll give us it. We could actually even put care manager and go for them. Just see what it comes out. It might sometimes management. Sometimes we've got to do a little bit of fishing to get the right word, the right keyword. Let's say home care. Let's try that. So we can put all words in that we think will actually come up. We can go to interests. So is it a different area that we want to go into? Should we be looking at people that are sporty? Are we looking at different hobbies and activities? Fitness and well-being? Is it business? So let's say we went for business. What sort of business do we want? We can go down here and we can go, okay, we'll have nursing, and we will have, what else might we have? Should we have small business, etc., like that? But wherever it is we want to go, the healthcare will take that. So you can see now that the audience potential reach for this one boost is 670,000 people that have all put these sort of keywords into Facebook, either what they work as, or they keep liking posts related to it. Facebook has all that within their service. So I now press save. And as a result of that, now I'm ready to actually boost. So I can choose how long I'm going to boost it for. I could decide to run this over a month because I'm doing a 1 month recruitment drive. I could decide to run it over 1 week if I want. So let's say I go 7 days. So it's now actually telling me my spend. And this is the budget up here. So basically, if I now say, okay, actually, I want to spend a lot more than that, that's telling me that I will reach 900 to 5,400 people per day of this. I can go a lot higher in budget if I want, or you can go a lot lower. There's times I've done it for £6 and but it has a minimum of £1 per day. So I might decide I want to run it for 1 day and see what the results are, and just pay my £6. What I'm saying is it's nothing, but you've got to take all that into consideration with your strategy plan. Now, if I press boost here, that means that that post is going to start flying onto people's pages. You know, and you might think that's a little bit unfair, but Facebook is a free service to the user. It is not a free service to business. That's why this is there. And I can actually make that run inline on Instagram. I can put links onto Twitter, wherever it may be. It could be a small video that I showed you. But that's how we should recruit and target staff in this day and age. So hopefully the boost format is just sort of like giving you a little bit of an awakening to what some of your competitors are doing who seem to be getting staff. But working out that coding system of the keywords, that takes quite a bit of doing. Now, fortunately for you, I've done it. So if you want to send me an email at paul@cba-training.co.uk, I'm quite happy to send you some of the keywords that I use on a regular basis that will help you out. So I'm going to cancel that ad because I don't actually want to drive that one, but I'm hoping you're sort of like getting the gist. Now, in terms of how I would target, quite simple for me. I would target, if I want younger people, Instagram. If I want, and I'm talking about people that might necessarily not want to talk to me, because Instagram is very much like a poster site. You know, I'm putting pictures up. It's not necessarily that I want to talk. So therefore, they might want to text me back in. It's a grab moment for the younger audience. It's cool. If I want to use Twitter, I can use Twitter and maybe direct people through links to my website, or direct them to a YouTube channel that I've created that's going to help attract people because they want to see a visual. If I want to use Facebook, Facebook is very much your biggest social media platform in terms of people want to talk. That's why you'll see some people put posts up saying, oh, I've had the most terrible day ever. Why are they putting that? Because they want people to talk to them. and in talking to them, then they are able to then talk back. So it's a good content page if you want to start discussions off and things like that. If you are looking for professional people, then we're moving to LinkedIn. And when I say professional, I don't mean managers and nurses and people like that. You can pick up many senior carers from LinkedIn. It's becoming more and more popular. But in LinkedIn, it is much more about the drive of the direct messaging culture. You know, people want to see something. It is a selling domain, in all fairness. So how are you actually selling it? Much more of an older audience that is using that. And certainly Indeed. With Indeed, it's about how you word your communication there to people and make it a bit fun and exciting. Please look at other people's and look at them and go, that's dull, that's boring, we've got to be different. If you want somebody that makes a good brew, then make a good brew on it. But you will get good senior carers from Indeed. You will get good deputy managers, nurses from Indeed. But it's all about actually being open and honest within the advert, but at the same time being fun and vibrant and exciting and different. It's all about being different. So let's just focus on where we've actually got to. First of all, I talked about the strategy planning that you had to do, and we watched that video. Then I was all about the planning the content out and what you want to do, and make sure you've got your USPs in there, make sure you've got the length of time of the journey. Then it was all about build your posts that you're going to post out there, using the different apps that I showed you. So again, please contact me if you want to discuss that. Then it was about the boosting of how we do it. Now we've got to concentrate, and this is the last part, I promise you, we've got to concentrate on the part where we actually say, okay, people are feeding through to us that they're tagging us in, or they want something sent to them. They're sending us instant messaging or direct messaging, or they're emailing them, or they're texting. And what they need is a quick response. Really quick response. I'm not talking about we'll get to it tomorrow or the day after, because you'll lose them. They got excited, they got attracted, reel it in. That's what sales is all about. And to do that, you can do a template message that goes directly out to them straight away. It's very easy to configure on the social media sites, that goes out and says somebody will be in contact with you tomorrow morning. But now you've hooked them. Think about the fisherman in the lake again. He gets the bite. He doesn't sit there till tomorrow and hope the fish is there, because it'll have wriggled away. He starts to reel it in. Yeah, that's what you've got to do. So if you've got to have somebody that's why I said have a strategy over a week or 2 weeks, but focus the team or the person that's accountable and say, listen, that phone's got to be on you, or that iPad's got to be with you, because if somebody starts pinging you at 8 o'clock at night, it's not a case of saying, who the heck is pinging me at 8 o'clock at night? It's more a case of saying, okay, I'm going to go back to them and we're going to chase it up tomorrow. Put a telephone call into them within 24 hours. Screen. Tell them what your site is like. Make sure that you're telling them all the things that they need to hear at that point that allows them to make a decision whether they want to come for an interview or not. And then if they do, you need to have already in your strategy have planned out the days that you're going to interview. And at that moment in time, you're offering them that opportunity. So we are interviewing from Wednesday to Friday. These slots are still available. Which one would you like? Don't give them the choice to say, oh, I'm not available for 2 weeks. They're the dates that's available, and you are now closing the deal. Now, when you get them to interview stage, it's up to you. Sell your service. Get them in. That's not recruitment from this perspective of what I've been teaching you today. This is about getting people to the door. If they come in and they don't like you, they don't like the service, that's not the recruitment drive's fault. That's what actually they've visually seen. So that's not the recruitment drive's fault. That's what actually they've visually seen. So I'm going to just flick back to me for a second. And I'm going to ask you, or hope that you enjoyed the webinar or webcast, whatever name it's got to be. I know I've kept you for an hour, so apologies for that, but hopefully you've found this hour really useful. If you have, please can you comment below and share. Please feel free to follow me on Instagram. I'm under my normal name of Paul Blaine. Care Business Associate Training, and on Facebook it's at CB Associate Training. So give them a follow, because we put lots of information up there and we do lots of things like this that you might find helpful. This, I believe, if Brad's correct, is telling me correct, is going onto a YouTube channel, so we'll put a link on the internet for you to look for. These lot do a lot of training. Well, these lot are my lot, but we do a lot of training in management, in everything within health and social care, from your mandatories to your clinicals, to turnarounds, to things like this. So if you want training, you need to come to these guys. The contact number is 01772 816922, and email them at admin@cba-training.co.uk, and they'll be sure to help you out and deliver a service to you that you want. That's it. Well done if you've stayed tuned. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you very soon. Thank you. Good night and God bless.